Humans were underestimated for centuries, seen as weak and peaceful, until one hospital ship was attacked in deep space, outnumbered and outgunned. The crew used courage, intelligence, and quick thinking to survive, proving that humanity could change the course of galactic history. Subscribe to HFY Sci-Fi for more epic tales of human bravery. The human hospital ship Mercy of Dawn floated silently through the dark emptiness of space, its white and blue hull gleaming faintly under distant starlight. Inside, the corridors were calm, filled with the quiet hum of life support systems and the soft chatter of doctors and nurses. The ship was a symbol of hope, carrying not weapons of war but the tools to heal, and it moved through neutral space with the mission of saving lives wherever danger had struck. Captain Elena Voss walked through the bridge, her eyes scanning the holographic displays that showed nearby star systems and traffic. She moved with quiet confidence, every step deliberate, and her crew trusted her completely. Every person aboard knew that their role was crucial, that they carried not just patients, but the reputation of humanity across the galaxy. The captain paused for a moment, looking at the distant planets, and she felt a mixture of pride and calm, believing that today, like every other day, would pass without incident. In the medical wing, Dr. Soren Lee was reviewing patient charts, his fingers gliding over the digital interface. He smiled gently at a young alien child whose eyes were wide with curiosity. The child had been rescued from a minor skirmish near a mining colony, and now, under human care, was resting peacefully. Nurses moved quietly, checking vital signs, adjusting oxygen levels, and offering comfort with soft words and gentle touches. The entire crew was in perfect sync, like a well-oiled machine designed to heal rather than fight. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, medics were organizing supplies, from bandages and syringes to advanced medical equipment capable of stabilizing critically injured beings. Every item had its place, and every procedure had been practiced countless times. The human crew understood that preparation and attention to detail could mean the difference between life and death. And even in moments of quiet, they trained, double-checked systems, and ensured that no error could compromise their mission. Outside the ship, the stars twinkled peacefully, nebulae casting colorful glows across the void. The Mercy of Dawn moved with purpose, a silent sentinel, and for a while it seemed that the galaxy itself had paused, respecting the human vessel that carried only compassion. Inside, the crew enjoyed small moments of normality, sharing quiet conversations over meals, laughing softly at stories from past missions, and finding comfort in camaraderie. They did not speak of danger, because for now danger seemed distant, almost non-existent. The ship's AI, named Aura, glided through systems silently, monitoring environmental controls, navigation, and patient vitals. It alerted the crew of any minor changes, but today, there were none. The systems ran smoothly, lights glowed softly in corridors, and every crew member went about their duties with calm efficiency. From the bridge to the medical bays to the engineering sections, there was a sense of harmony, a feeling that all was right in the universe, at least for this brief moment. Young nurse Lena Ortiz knelt by a recovering alien soldier, holding a small device that emitted soothing pulses to calm pain. She whispered gentle encouragements in the alien's language, and though she could not understand every word, the warmth of her voice brought reassurance. Around her, other nurses moved with equal care, tending to patients who had been rescued from distant worlds, ensuring that every being felt safety and comfort aboard a human ship. Even in the mess hall, the atmosphere was serene, with humans and aliens sharing meals, swapping stories of their home worlds, and laughing quietly at small jokes. The cultural diversity was vast, yet everyone respected one another, bound together by the understanding that life was precious, and that on this ship all who came aboard were treated as family. There was a sense of purpose in every action, and a quiet pride in knowing that humans had built a vessel capable of bridging worlds. As the hours passed, the calm continued, the ship gliding through space like a white dove among the stars. The crew performed routine checks, monitored patient recovery, and shared brief moments of reflection. Many wondered about the galaxies beyond their sensors, about the lives they might touch, and about the challenges that awaited. Yet for now, there was only peace, the hum of the ship, and the soft glow of medical lights illuminating hopeful faces. The mercy of dawn carried humanity's promise of compassion, and for a time, it seemed that nothing could disturb this serene voyage. Little did anyone aboard realize that this calm was only the beginning, that beyond the sensors, shadows were moving, and that the events about to unfold would challenge everything they believed. The serenity of the moment would soon collide with chaos. But for now, humans and aliens alike rested in the quiet, unaware that their courage and compassion were about to be tested like never before. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a strange movement on the edge of the scanned space. The warning lights on the bridge flickered as the crew noticed multiple unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. Their shapes were angular, dark, and menacing, completely unlike any known neutral or friendly ships. Captain Elena Voss's hands gripped the railing as she watched the readings, a cold feeling settling in her stomach. She quickly ordered the crew to prepare for a possible confrontation, though the Mercy of Dawn was designed for healing, not battle. The approaching fleet did not respond to hails or warnings. Instead, their formations suggested a coordinated attack, closing in with terrifying precision. Sensors detected energy weapons charging, and the AI aura issued continuous alerts about potential impact zones. Every crew member on the bridge felt the tension. Their previous calm replaced by a sense of urgency, engineers began checking the integrity of the ship's shields, even though they were minimal, and medics braced for possible casualties. In the medical bay, Dr. Soren Lee and his team prepared emergency triage stations. Racks of medical supplies were moved closer to central areas, and stretchers were arranged for rapid evacuation. Nurses checked oxygen levels, life support, and trauma kits. Every action was practiced, but the reality of an impending attack added a weight that no simulation could replicate. Captain Voss communicated clearly, keeping her crew focused. Her voice was calm but firm, and it guided them through the initial shock, giving them confidence that they could face whatever came. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the attackers continued their approach, and their true numbers became clear. Dozens of warships moved with deadly efficiency, their dark hulls glinting faintly under distant starlight. It became obvious that the Mercy of Dawn was completely outmatched. The humans were facing a fleet designed purely for destruction, a force that could obliterate their ship within minutes if they were careless. On the bridge, tactical officers monitored the attackers' movement patterns, attempting to predict their next maneuvers. Aura's calculations showed that evasion might be possible, but only with extreme risk. Every decision carried weight. A wrong choice could result in the loss of innocent lives aboard the hospital ship. Captain Voss made rapid decisions, giving orders to engage emergency shields and adjust the ship's trajectory. She knew that they were unlikely to fight off the fleet, but any delay in the enemy's attack could save lives. In the corridors, the crew moved with precise coordination, preparing patients for potential danger, securing fragile medical equipment, and ensuring that everyone understood emergency protocols. Panic was kept at bay by professionalism and discipline. Young nurse Lena Ortiz reassured frightened patients, her calm tone helping them cling to a sense of safety even as the danger approached. Engineers worked tirelessly to boost shield output, redirecting power from non-essential systems to vital areas. Each action was deliberate, a small act of defiance against the overwhelming threat outside. The attacking fleet finally came into range, and the first warning shots lit up space. They were not intended to destroy immediately, but to test the ship's response. Energy blasts lit the void like harsh streaks of light, and the Mercy of Dawn shuddered under the pressure. Hull plating groaned as the shields absorbed the first waves of energy. Alarms blared throughout the corridors, yet the crew remained focused, attending to patients and maintaining critical systems. Captain Voss realized that diplomacy had failed, and that the attackers saw the hospital ship not as a neutral vessel, but as a target. This revelation weighed heavily on her. She knew that the human crew had never faced such a direct threat before, and yet she also understood that their training, their courage, and their unity could make a difference. Every crew member braced for what was coming, aware that even the smallest mistake could turn the situation catastrophic. As the attackers closed in, the tension inside the ship was almost tangible. Every heartbeat seemed louder, every movement faster. The quiet calm that had defined their voyage was gone, replaced by vigilance, strategy, and unspoken fear. But even in that fear, there was determination, a shared resolve to protect the innocent lives aboard, and to prove that even a ship built for healing could inspire courage in the face of overwhelming danger. Little did the crew know that this attack would not only challenge their skills and bravery, but would also mark the beginning of a moment that would change the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. The approach of the enemy fleet was only the first sign of a storm that would test the limits of human courage, intelligence, and ingenuity. And the crew of the Mercy of Dawn was about to discover just how far they were willing to go to defend life. Without warning, the attacking fleet unleashed their assault, streaks of deadly energy cutting across the blackness of space. The Mercy of Dawn shuddered violently as its shields absorbed the first impact. Lights flickered in the corridors, and alarms screamed as explosions reverberated through the ship. The crew was thrown into immediate action, medics rushing to secure patients, engineers working frantically to maintain critical systems, and the bridge staff coordinating every movement with precise urgency. In the medical bay, Dr. Soren Lee barked orders as stretchers were moved into safer zones. Nurses held panicked patients close, whispering words of comfort as fire and smoke threatened to engulf the room. Oxygen masks were secured, monitors were checked, and trauma kits were opened. Every second mattered, and every action could mean the difference between life and death. The hospital ship, designed for healing, was now a battlefield of survival, not for weapons, but for the courage and skill of its crew. On the bridge, Captain Elena Voss stared at the view screen, her eyes tracking each incoming shot. The fleet moved with ruthless coordination, targeting weak points in the ship's defenses. She issued rapid orders, diverting power to the shields, adjusting the ship's angle, and activating emergency protocols. Even though the Mercy of Dawn was not built for combat, the crew's training allowed them to use every system creatively to mitigate damage. Tactical officers relayed information constantly, predicting enemy movements and giving the captain split-second choices that could save lives. In the corridors, smoke and sparks filled the air, forcing engineers and crew to navigate carefully. Lena Ortiz held the hand of a terrified alien child, guiding them away from a corridor damaged by a near miss. Every hallway was a chaotic maze of falling equipment, flickering lights, and the sounds of struggling systems. Yet the crew moved with determination, each member performing their role with discipline and bravery. The human crew understood that panic would lead to disaster, and so even amidst chaos, they maintained calm and focus. The attackers continued their relentless barrage, striking at the ship's shields with overwhelming force. Sections of the hull buckled under the pressure, forcing medics to evacuate patients to safer areas. Life support systems fluctuated, and engineers worked at full capacity to stabilize critical zones. Sparks flew from broken panels, and smoke drifted through ventilation shafts. But the crew refused to surrender. They adapted, improvising repairs, rerouting power, and using every tool at their disposal to keep the ship functioning under impossible conditions. Throughout the chaos, small acts of heroism became evident. A nurse crawled through a smoke-filled passage to reach an injured patient, dragging them to safety while ignoring personal danger. An engineer clambered over shattered flooring to reconnect a severed power line, ensuring life support stayed online. Each member of the crew became a symbol of human resilience, showing that courage was not measured by weaponry, but by selflessness and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. On the bridge, Captain Voss coordinated these efforts with unwavering focus, communicating clearly, prioritizing life over damage, and inspiring her crew to keep moving. She knew that every second they survived increased the chances of saving lives. Every minor victory against the attackers' onslaught gave hope. Even as explosions rocked the ship, they demonstrated that strategy, intelligence, and teamwork could counter sheer destructive force. The Mercy of Dawn might not have weapons to strike back, but it had something far more powerful: the unwavering will of humanity. In the medical bay, Dr. Lee worked tirelessly, stabilizing patients and giving them hope despite the smoke and tremors shaking the floors. Nurses coordinated with each other silently, handing supplies, checking vitals, and ensuring that every being received attention. The ship's AI, Aura, ran continuous diagnostics, rerouting systems, and providing information that allowed the crew to respond faster than any enemy could anticipate. Every moment was a test of endurance, skill, and courage. As the attack continued, the Mercy of Dawn began to display the full extent of human ingenuity. Emergency shields held where they should have failed, power rerouted to protect critical zones. And medics managed to keep every patient alive despite the bombardment. Even though the fleet believed they were destroying a helpless target, the humans aboard turned desperation into determination, transforming a hospital ship into a vessel of resilience and hope. Finally, after what felt like endless minutes, the attackers paused, perhaps surprised by the humans' ability to adapt and survive. The ship, though damaged, remained intact, the crew exhausted but unbroken. Every corridor bore the marks of battle, yet every life remained protected. The first wave of destruction had passed, leaving the Mercy of Dawn battered but alive, and setting the stage for the next challenge that would test the limits of human courage, strategy, and ingenuity. Despite the chaos that rattled the ship, the human crew of the Mercy of Dawn refused to give in to fear. Doctors, nurses, and engineers moved through the corridors with unwavering focus, each aware of the critical role they played. Sparks flew from damaged panels, smoke drifted through vents, and warning alarms blared, yet no one faltered. Every injured patient was a priority, and every crew member knew that saving lives meant putting themselves at risk. Courage became visible in every action, a quiet defiance against the destructive force outside. Dr. Soren Lee carried a small alien child through a hallway damaged by the attack. Sparks fell around him, and debris shifted underfoot, but he maintained steady hands, whispering soothing words to calm the frightened little one. Nurses followed closely, holding medical supplies and checking monitors. The coordination between them was seamless. A display of professionalism and humanity, even in extreme danger. Every step forward was an act of bravery. Every patient stabilized a victory against the chaos. In engineering, crew members crawled over shattered flooring to reroute power, repairing systems that were critical to life support and shields. Sweat ran down their faces as sparks flew near them, yet determination kept them moving. Every wire reconnected and every panel stabilized contributed to the survival of hundreds of lives. Even in sections partially destroyed by enemy fire, they worked tirelessly, improvising repairs with whatever tools were at hand, showing a resilience that could not be measured by technology alone. On the bridge, Captain Elena Voss coordinated the efforts with sharp focus, giving orders that kept the ship functional and the crew organized. Her voice was calm but firm, guiding medics and engineers simultaneously. She made decisions that required balancing risk with necessity, diverting power, rerouting systems, and ordering temporary evacuation of damaged sections. Every decision reflected not only tactical intelligence, but also deep compassion for those under her care. The captain's leadership inspired her crew to act decisively and without hesitation. Throughout the corridors, small acts of heroism continued. Lena Ortiz held an oxygen mask to a wounded alien while crawling past smoke and falling debris. Another nurse dragged a heavy stretcher to a safer area while ignoring sparks that danced dangerously close. Even technicians worked in full view of the damaged hull, reconnecting systems to keep life support operational. These actions, repeated countless times across the ship, created a ripple of courage that kept the entire mission alive, demonstrating that humanity's strength was not in weapons, but in selflessness and bravery. The AI, Aura, assisted tirelessly, providing real-time diagnostics and suggesting power reroutes. Its voice remained calm and steady, giving precise instructions that complemented human judgment. Every shield adjustment, every life support recalibration, and every damage assessment was coordinated between human intuition and artificial precision. Together, they formed a system that adapted faster than the attackers could anticipate. Their combined efficiency turned potential disaster into a manageable crisis, showing that strategy and intelligence could rival even the most violent assault. Despite the overwhelming attack, the crew maintained a rhythm, a combination of practiced skill and instinctive bravery. Medics worked in tandem, ensuring patients were stabilized and transported safely. Engineers repaired damage in real time, and bridge officers continuously adapted the ship's course and shield distribution. Even as another warning flare signaled incoming energy blasts, the crew prepared calmly, relying on experience, training, and sheer willpower. The chaos outside the hull became a backdrop to the extraordinary human courage unfolding within. Each act of bravery had a cumulative effect, boosting morale and reinforcing the crew's determination. Even the youngest and least experienced members found themselves rising to the occasion, stepping into roles they had only trained for. The shared understanding that every life saved was a triumph strengthened the unity aboard the ship, and even as explosions shook the hull, no one allowed fear to dominate. Their courage radiated, turning a hospital ship into a fortress of hope, a beacon against destruction. Captain Voss took a brief moment to observe. Noting the seamless coordination, the calm efficiency, and the extraordinary bravery, she understood that human courage was not measured by firepower, but by resilience, empathy, and the ability to act decisively under pressure. Every crew member, every medic, every engineer contributed to a force far greater than themselves. Their collective determination transformed the Mercy of Dawn into a symbol of humanity's unwavering spirit, proving that even in the face of overwhelming violence, courage and compassion could prevail. By the end of the attack's first phase, damage was sustained, and corridors bore scars of explosions. Yet the crew's perseverance had kept the patients safe. Shields had held where they might have failed, life support systems had stayed operational, and the crew had demonstrated extraordinary resilience. The human ability to maintain calm, act with precision, and show courage in the direst circumstances had turned the tide of survival, showing the galaxy that even a ship built solely for healing could stand unbroken in the face of destruction. Amid the chaos and destruction, one member of the crew emerged with a plan that could turn the tide of the battle. Lieutenant Marcus Hale, a strategist and engineer, studied the incoming enemy patterns. His mind raced as he considered the limited capabilities of the Mercy of Dawn, a ship built for healing, not combat. Yet he realized that the hospital's advanced medical technology could be used in unexpected ways to defend the ship. He quickly moved to the bridge, explaining his idea to Captain Elena Voss, who listened carefully, trusting his judgment. Marcus proposed using the ship's medical energy emitters, normally used for healing and diagnostic purposes, as a defensive mechanism. By modifying the frequency and direction of the energy waves, he could create a temporary disorientation effect on the attacker's sensors, rendering them less accurate. The captain immediately approved, knowing that every advantage mattered. Engineers and technicians quickly began the complex reconfiguration, working with urgency as energy surges lit the corridors. Sparks flew as wires were rerouted and emitters recalibrated. Yet everyone worked with precise coordination. In the medical bay, Dr. Soren Lee and his team assisted, helping to adjust the energy devices. Though they were accustomed to healing, their technical knowledge proved invaluable. Each adjustment had to be carefully timed to avoid harming the patients aboard. Yet the crew trusted Marcus's calculations, following his instructions with determination. As the first recalibrations were completed, tension mounted. Everyone knew that success could mean survival, but failure could invite total destruction. Meanwhile, the attackers continued their assault, expecting the hospital ship to remain passive. Their energy blasts struck with precision. Yet Marcus's plan allowed the Mercy of Dawn to counter in a way they never anticipated. Aura, the ship's AI, coordinated the energy emissions, adjusting output in real time to maximize disruption. The first pulses of the modified energy wave reached the attacker's fleet, causing brief sensor malfunctions. Their targeting systems faltered, and their formations wavered, creating openings that the humans could exploit to maneuver the ship out of critical danger zones. Throughout the ship, crew members noticed the subtle change in the battle's dynamics. Engineers who had been exhausted by constant repairs now felt a renewed sense of purpose. Medics and nurses continued their work, reassured that the attacks were becoming less accurate, and Captain Voss issued precise navigational orders to take advantage of the enemy confusion. Every movement, every recalibration, and every decision combined to create a coordinated defensive effort. Proving that human ingenuity could rival brute force, Lieutenant Hale moved from the bridge to the engineering sections, supervising the adjustments personally. He encouraged the teams, giving instructions with calm authority. Even in areas damaged by enemy fire, his presence inspired confidence. Crew members adapted quickly, rerouting additional power to critical emitters and reinforcing shields. Their ability to improvise under pressure became as important as the technology itself. Every successful recalibration was a small victory, and the morale of the crew began to rise despite the ongoing attack. Outside, the attackers struggled to regain control. Their previously coordinated strikes now misfired as the modified energy waves interfered with targeting systems. The human crew, though vastly outnumbered, had created chaos in the enemy fleet without firing a single weapon. This moment demonstrated that intelligence, strategy, and creativity could level the playing field against overwhelming force. Even those who had doubted the Mercy of Dawn's ability to defend itself now saw the humans in a new light. Back on the bridge, Captain Voss observed the effects of Marcus's plan, a mixture of relief and admiration crossing her face. She continued issuing commands, ensuring that the ship took advantage of every moment of enemy confusion. Crew members moved quickly through corridors, performing repairs, attending to patients, and coordinating systems with renewed energy. Every individual contribution strengthened the overall defense, showing that teamwork amplified the genius of one brilliant mind. As the attackers began to hesitate, unsure how to respond to the human ingenuity before them, Lieutenant Hale's countermeasure maintained its rhythm, continuously adjusting to the fleet's movements. The hospital ship, previously seen as a helpless target, now displayed an unexpected defensive capability. Not through weapons, but through the clever use of technology, coordination, and human creativity. The crew realized that even in the face of overwhelming danger, they could turn adversity into advantage. By the end of the phase, the Mercy of Dawn had successfully confused the enemy fleet, reducing casualties and stabilizing critical systems. Sparks and damage still marked the ship, yet the morale and confidence of the crew soared. Marcus Hale's quick thinking and brilliance had given humanity an edge, proving that courage combined with intelligence could create victories even in situations that seemed impossible. The hospital ship now stood as a testament to human ingenuity, resourcefulness, and the ability to adapt when the odds were stacked against them. The tide of the battle began to shift as the Mercy of Dawn used every advantage at its disposal. The attackers, expecting an easy target, were now forced to reconsider their approach. Energy pulses from the modified medical emitters continued to disrupt their targeting systems, and the ship's shields held firm under repeated strikes. Captain Elena Voss gave precise orders, directing the ship through evasive maneuvers that kept critical sections out of harm's way. The crew moved with a sense of unity and purpose, their previous fear replaced by focus and determination. In the medical bay, Dr. Soren Lee and his team continued their tireless work, stabilizing patients and keeping them calm as explosions shook the ship. Nurses moved quickly between bays, administering care and maintaining vital systems. Despite the danger, a sense of confidence spread through the crew. Each member understood that their collective effort was now turning the battle in their favor, and every action contributed to the survival of the ship and its passengers. Engineers worked at full capacity, rerouting power to shields, repairing damaged panels, and reinforcing critical systems. Sparks flew from exposed circuits, and smoke drifted through ventilation shafts, yet no one hesitated. Their teamwork was seamless, each person anticipating the needs of others. As the attackers' shots became less precise, engineers were able to focus on strengthening vulnerable areas rather than just repairing damage. The ship itself seemed to respond to the crew's determination, holding firm as if alive with human resolve. On the bridge, Captain Voss coordinated maneuvers with sharp precision. Taking advantage of the enemy's disarray caused by the modified energy pulses, she ordered calculated turns and acceleration bursts, moving the ship out of concentrated fire zones while keeping patients and critical systems protected. Tactical officers monitored enemy positions constantly, providing real-time data that allowed the captain to make split-second decisions. Each maneuver required trust in the crew's skill, and the humans aboard the Mercy of Dawn were proving worthy of that trust. The attackers, realizing that their precision strikes were failing, became cautious. Their formations wavered, and small gaps appeared between ships, which the humans exploited. The energy disruptions continued to affect sensors and targeting systems, giving the hospital ship room to maneuver and reduce incoming damage. Crew members who had been tense with fear now found strength in seeing the enemy falter. Their confidence grew, and their actions became even more precise and effective, reinforcing the momentum that was slowly turning the battle. Throughout the corridors, small victories continued to inspire. Lena Ortiz and other nurses moved swiftly, helping patients who had been relocated to safer zones. Engineers repaired previously damaged conduits, restoring power and stabilizing life support. Even minor successes boosted morale, showing the crew that every effort, no matter how small, contributed to the larger victory. The ship became more than a vessel. It became a symbol of human determination and the ability to fight back without traditional weapons. The AI, Aura, worked tirelessly alongside the crew, continuously analyzing enemy movements and adjusting energy pulse patterns. Its precise calculations amplified the human strategy, ensuring that every action had maximum effect. By coordinating defensive measures, shields, and evasive maneuvers, Aura acted as both guide and amplifier of human ingenuity. The attackers struggled to adapt, their previous confidence giving way to frustration, as they realized the hospital ship was no ordinary target. Captain Voss used this shift to direct focused countermeasures. Not offensive weapons, but clever maneuvers that allowed the ship to minimize damage while keeping patients safe. Crew members executed repairs, stabilized medical equipment, and prepared for any emergency with renewed energy. Their courage and skill were now matched by strategic opportunity. Each action reinforced the idea that even a non-combatant vessel could influence the course of a battle. The attackers began to retreat slightly, their confidence shaken by unexpected resistance and the persistent disruptions. The Mercy of Dawn, though battered, continued to move with purpose, demonstrating that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome numerical superiority. Captain Voss acknowledged the crew's efforts with calm pride, knowing that their resilience had transformed a desperate situation into a controlled defense. Every system working, every patient safe, and every crew member performing beyond expectations was proof of humanity's remarkable capability. By the end of this phase, the humans aboard the hospital ship had proven their strength. The attackers were no longer in full control. The crew had stabilized the ship, and morale soared. The Mercy of Dawn stood as a testament to ingenuity, teamwork, and courage, showing that even in the vast and dangerous galaxy, humans could turn near-certain defeat into a display of skill and resilience. The tide had turned, and the ship, its crew, and its passengers were now poised to survive and continue their mission, inspiring awe in those who witnessed their perseverance. News of the attack on the Mercy of Dawn spread rapidly throughout the galaxy, reaching star systems, empires, and neutral colonies alike. The fact that a human hospital ship had been targeted shocked many, but the story of how the crew survived, adapted, and defended themselves inspired awe. Reports described not just survival, but ingenuity, courage, and teamwork that defied expectations. Humans, once underestimated, were suddenly seen as a species capable of extraordinary resilience and strategic brilliance. Across distant worlds, leaders convened emergency councils, debating how to respond to the incident. Some feared that humans could no longer be ignored. Their ability to protect even a non-combatant ship demonstrated intelligence, resourcefulness, and a moral code that others could not predict. Military strategists studied the accounts of energy pulses, evasive maneuvers, and improvisation aboard the hospital ship, trying to understand how a vessel designed solely for healing could thwart a fleet of warships. The implications of human ingenuity began to ripple through political and military circles. In the neutral sectors, alien populations who had witnessed humans' actions felt a new respect. They saw a species capable of maintaining their compassion while defending life. Humans had proven that morality and intelligence could coexist with strength. Diplomatic channels buzzed with discussions about human intentions, wondering how a seemingly peaceful species could wield such cleverness and courage. The Mercy of Dawn became more than a story of survival. It became a symbol of humanity's rising reputation across the stars. On the damaged ship itself, Captain Elena Voss and her crew took stock of the aftermath. Patients were stabilized, repairs were underway, and morale, though weary, was strong. The crew's success in surviving the assault reinforced a shared sense of pride and accomplishment. Medics and engineers exchanged quiet smiles as they checked systems and patient statuses. Each member knew they had been part of something that would change the way the galaxy viewed humans. The ship, once seen as vulnerable, had become a testament to the combination of courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Messages of astonishment arrived from neighboring systems, praising the humans' ability to adapt under fire. Scientists, engineers, and strategists analyzed the reports, trying to learn from the unprecedented tactics. The fact that a hospital ship could turn the tables on an attacking fleet became a case study in ingenuity. They marveled at how humans had used their technology creatively, improvising defenses and maintaining order and safety despite overwhelming odds. Every story reinforced the emerging perception that humans could not be underestimated. Galactic empires and minor colonies alike began to reconsider their policies toward humanity. Previously, humans had been regarded as peaceful, helpful, but ultimately insignificant in terms of strategic power. Now, the evidence suggested that humans combined moral principles with unparalleled adaptability. Their capacity for quick thinking, teamwork, and courage made them a force that could not be ignored. The attack that was meant to show human weakness instead exposed a profound strength, reshaping the galaxy's understanding of humanity's potential. In communication channels, humans shared lessons learned from the battle, emphasizing preparation, coordination, and innovative thinking. Other species began to take note, realizing that bravery and intelligence could overcome brute force. The incident also strengthened human resolve, affirming that they could face overwhelming threats while staying true to their principles of compassion and protection. The Mercy of Dawn was no longer just a ship. It had become a symbol of human resilience, inspiring not only its crew, but all who heard of its story. As the story circulated, alliances shifted and treaties were reconsidered. Governments and leaders acknowledged that humans were a species to respect, perhaps even fear, but always to understand. The attack inadvertently united observers across the galaxy in awe of the human spirit. Their ability to turn near-certain disaster into triumph proved that courage, creativity, and ethical action could have consequences far beyond the immediate battle. Humanity's actions aboard the Mercy of Dawn had set a new standard, demonstrating that even in non-combatant roles, they could influence galactic history. The legacy of this moment began to take shape, leaving a lasting impression across star systems. Humans were no longer seen as a quiet, insignificant species, but as a civilization capable of heroism, intelligence, and moral courage in ways that could change the balance of power. The Mercy of Dawn's survival had caused shockwaves that would be felt for generations, as the galaxy now knew that humanity was a force unlike any other, capable of inspiring both fear and respect, and forever altering the way other species viewed their place in the universe. The surviving crew of the Mercy of Dawn took a moment to breathe, though the scars of battle were evident across the ship. Corridors still smelled of smoke, panels were charred, and sparks occasionally danced from damaged circuits. Yet despite the physical damage, the sense of achievement and resilience was stronger than ever. Every crew member knew they had faced an overwhelming enemy and emerged not just alive, but victorious in spirit. Their actions had demonstrated that humanity's strength was measured not only in technology, but in courage, intelligence, and compassion. Captain Elena Voss moved through the ship, checking on her crew and patients. Her eyes met those of medics who had worked tirelessly under fire, engineers who had crawled through wreckage to repair vital systems, and nurses who had carried the injured through smoke-filled corridors. Each glance reflected mutual respect and a shared understanding that they had accomplished something extraordinary. The captain addressed each member with quiet words of pride, reinforcing that their courage and dedication had not only saved lives, but had sent a message to the galaxy. Outside the ship, sensors detected that the attacking fleet had retreated, the warships dispersing into the void. They had underestimated humans, expecting a passive target, and were now forced to reconsider their assumptions. The Mercy of Dawn, though battered and scarred, had proven that even a vessel built solely for healing could resist, adapt, and survive. The attackers' retreat was not just a tactical victory, but a psychological one, demonstrating the unexpected ingenuity and resilience of humans. In the medical bay, Dr. Soren Lee and his team worked quietly to stabilize the last of the patients. Their hands moved with practiced skill, checking vitals, adjusting monitors, and ensuring that no life was lost after the ordeal. Nurses moved efficiently, offering comfort and reassurance to aliens and humans alike. Even in the aftermath of chaos, the crew maintained their professionalism. Their dedication and unwavering compassion turned the ship into a sanctuary of hope, despite the evidence of violence that surrounded them. The AI, Aura, continued to monitor the systems, providing status reports and suggestions for repairs. Its calm voice contrasted with the intensity of the past hours, guiding crew members to prioritize critical fixes and maintain life support systems. Engineers worked side by side with medics, following Aura's instructions to restore stability to the ship. The combination of human ingenuity, courage, and artificial intelligence ensured that the Mercy of Dawn was fully operational once again. Ready to continue its mission of healing and aid, news of the ship's survival and the crew's bravery spread quickly across star systems. The galaxy, which had underestimated humans for centuries, began to take notice. Reports praised the crew's ability to maintain moral principles while demonstrating tactical skill. Humans were no longer seen as a minor, peaceful species, but as one capable of extraordinary strategy and courage. Diplomats, military leaders, and ordinary citizens alike started to view humanity with newfound respect, recognizing that compassion and strength could coexist. The crew gathered in the common area, exhausted but united. Their conversations were quiet at first, sharing relief that everyone had survived. Then they began to reflect on what had happened, the risks they had faced, and the courage they had shown. Young nurses spoke of the patients they had comforted. Engineers recounted the repairs they had improvised, and doctors reflected on the difficult decisions made under pressure. In each story, the same theme emerged. Humanity had risen to the occasion, transforming fear into courage, chaos into coordinated action. Captain Voss addressed the crew, acknowledging their efforts and reminding them of the larger impact of their actions. She explained that their bravery aboard a non-combatant hospital ship had sent a message across the galaxy, one that would influence diplomacy, alliances, and perceptions for years to come. The crew understood that they had not only protected lives, but had also reshaped the way other species viewed humanity. Their survival was both a personal victory and a historic achievement. As repairs continued and the ship returned to its mission, the Mercy of Dawn became more than a vessel of healing. It became a symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and moral courage. Across star systems, stories of its survival inspired hope, admiration, and caution, demonstrating that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans could persevere, adapt, and protect life without compromising their principles. The attack that was meant to destroy them had instead immortalized their bravery, leaving a legacy that would echo through the galaxy forever. The ship glided through space once again, its crew alert but undaunted, ready to continue their mission of saving lives. Every patient stabilized, every system repaired, and every crew member strengthened by the ordeal. The Mercy of Dawn carried not just humans and aliens, but a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. Their courage, intelligence, and compassion had changed the way the galaxy would see them, ensuring that the story of this battle would be remembered as the moment when humans proved that even a ship of healing could alter the course of galactic history.